Hey guys, what's up? So today is not a very good day for flying, but it is a good day to change your cage netting. Mine recently got a few dings in it and a few rips, so I'm going to change it out. On the Miniplane, it's not so straightforward how to replace it, so I'm going to make a video so it can help you guys if you're replacing your net. If you want to see how to hook it up to the bottom of the cage, you can skip right to this time here. Otherwise, let's get to it. Also, just wanted to give a shout out to Blaze Brogan for sending me this sweet Miniplane shirt. Thanks, man. Okay, so my cage netting is already removed. There was a rivet right here holding the cage netting on. I drilled that out. So we're basically starting from a point with no cage netting on. If you find the center of your cage netting, you'll see that the cage netting is actually sewed to one side, and that side is going to be the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drape this over the front, and I'm going to place this here, like so. And that's kind of where we want that to be. Just if you look at this, it's sewed in such a way that you can kind of see the center, right where these two come out. So we're going to keep it there. Okay, so I'm just using a razor and I'm just cutting a little square, X should I say, in either direction, just enough that I can get a rivet through there. So I'm going to use a 1/8 by 1/8 aluminum rivet. I put a little washer on here just so it has a little more strength going through this net. So now we're just going to push this rivet through this hole and then into there. Then we'll grab the rivet gun. All right. So that looks pretty good. Next, we're going to hold our netting out and insert our fiberglass rods here. And you want to make sure you put this T-connector in the upper hole. There's two holes here. You want to go in the one that's closer to the top of the paramotor. We will insert the T-connector, and then we'll just repeat the same step on the other side. When you buy a new net, you also receive probably about 20 feet of this black paracord. It also comes with some hooks and some rings, and I'm going to show you how to do this in a moment. For now, I'm going to place that there. We're going to start with the cord. So this cord likes to tangle pretty easy and create knots in itself, so you want to make sure it's straightened out and you don't really have anything like that going on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come through one of these holes, through the next hole in the opposite direction, through this hole in this direction. You're going to kind of weave between. All right, and then you'll just pull this all the way through, well, not all the way through, until it about touches the ground. So next, we're gonna bring this down and connect it to the cage. And what I like to do is I grab this, I place a foot down on the cage down here so it doesn't tip the motor over. Kind of bend this down and place it in there. There we go. Okay, so then we just wanna make sure the netting is not tangled in the spar, and we can just clip these guys on. You just press them in. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take the cord that's coming through the net, and we actually have to use a bit of this on either side. So what we're going to do is we're going to place the paracord through this hole, and then we're going to actually place it through again. Make like a loop here, and this loop is to hold the net to this rivet over here. So kind of take how much you need, leave a little bit of excess like that, and what you're going to do is you're going to get this as close as you can, use a little force, and then you're going to try and tie a knot right here to keep it nice and tight. So what I'm going to do is, now that we know how long this is going to be, I'm actually going to use the razor and cut this. And we'll cut a little length of cord to do this. And just give it one knot like this. For safety too, I like to do 2 knots here. It was a little bit of a pain to get 2 knots in here because I made this pretty short for that, but just got 2 knots in there. And what I'm gonna do next is put some glue on here. You could use super glue or whatever. I don't even know if this is necessary, but it gives me the peace of mind that this knot won't come undone. And neither will this one. And then I'll put some up here. Oops. Just to make it so it doesn't fray and look crappy. So next what we're going to do is we're going to remove this black paracord from the last square that we weaved through. There should be 2 spaces between the lower ring and this square that we're removing it from. Next, we're going to take this knot and we're going to place it through a ring, and then you can slide the knot that you pulled through the ring around the ring to the other side. And when you do so, it'll tie a knot, and the ring will then be secured to the net. If you've done it properly, you'll notice you'll have 2 squares between the bottom ring and the top ring. And then we just run our paracord through this top ring. And then we repeat this step on both sides. We're going to take our string that we just passed through here. We're going to pass it through this. And now we can tie our next ring onto here, which will attach over to this. So this first ring we can kind of arbitrarily tie on here. We don't really need a specific distance because we can adjust this later. Just when you're doing this, make sure you have a good amount of slack on the other side. You don't want to tie this and have no slack on the other side. So I'm going to tie it just like this. I'll make a knot in here. I'm basically just making a simple knot, but I'm pulling the ring through. So we have something like this. See if I can get that closer to the ring. Not that it really matters, but... So now this can attach over to this hook. Now we're going to do the same for the other side. So first we are going to run the string through this hook. And then we'll tie our ring right about there. You'll notice when it's starting to look right, you'll have these nice arches going along. And that's a clear indication that you're kind of on the right track. Now I've seen people do this a couple different ways on the internet. They all pretty much yield the same thing in the end, a nice looking net. But this is the way I'm going to do it. You want it to be snug. Wherever you tie this, you want these lines to be snug. You don't want them to be super tight because we're going to take care of that shortly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put the string through one loop of this ring. I'm going to pull it kind of snug, and then I'm going to remove it, and that's where we want to tie our knot. So we'll just do another simple knot, pass this through. So now we can clip that on there. Next, what we want to do is take the string, run it through this little triangle here, so that when you pull on it, get this out of the way, it pulls on this, and you can tighten it, and you notice that this makes a nice arc, and both sides will look like that when it's done, and it will make the net, the inside diameter of the net, really tight eventually. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and we would attach that over to this side. And the same thing's going to happen for both sides. So you kind of want to gauge where you're going to put your ring depending on that. And if you do tie it wrong, it's okay. If it's too long, you can make an extra wrap around here. Not really a big deal, especially considering the numerous ways I've seen it done. It's just you want to make sure that at the end, this is nice and tight. If you pluck it and it actually makes a noise, you know you've done a good job. So again, I figured out the distance I want this at. Now I'm going to tie a simple knot using the hook, pulling it through to kind of gauge where I want this to be. There we go. Now, if I clip it on here, it should be very tight. It will require a bit of force to get to where you want to be. There we go. Now, once I do this on the other side, we'll have two nice arcs going on here. This one's way high still, but this will come down. It'll kind of match this one, and they will be super tight. Okay, there you go. Both sides are done. We have these nice arcs here. They match up. They look pretty symmetric. Everything back here looks symmetric. We got all this extra cord, but we will cut that out in a moment. So now I just kind of tied everything once. This seems nice and tight. So I guess the last step that I'm going to do is these knots that came here were only single knotted, so I'm going to double knot basically everything and put some glue on it. And I think that should be it. See you guys next time.